In 2012, Counter-Strike Global Offensive was released to the world. As a highly anticipated sequel to the first in the series, it immediately became a critical and financial success, remaining the second most played game on Steam to this day. Part of what made Counter-Strike so appealing in the first place was its interaction with Steam. More specifically, Steam's expansive in-game economy, one where digital items and even games could be exchanged for real-world currency. This level of virtual market was unprecedented, so much so that its trends have been the subject of several real-world economic studies. Unfortunately, as interesting as such a concept is, establishing an unregulated market is bound to attract deceptive merchants who would like to take advantage of it. This is the story of those merchants and how they got away with it. For the longest time, Steam's digital market remained rather niche, but with the popularity of CSGO, suddenly millions were being introduced to the once novel idea. And as rare items began to be appraised for tens of thousands of real-world dollars, opportunists began to see Counter-Strike not as a game, but as a financial opportunity. One of these people was a streamer named Mohammed Assad, better known as MoTV. Though he began as a professional player, over time he gradually shifted towards more business-centric positions. You might not be surprised to learn that today, he's into NFTs and other ugly-looking crypto art. What the fuck is this shit? This sucks. Well, by early 2016, he'd retired from his own team to instead focus on managing it. Perhaps coincidentally, it was also around this time that he began to advertise a website known as CSGO Diamonds. CSGO Diamonds was just one in a wave of newly established websites promoting the idea of gambling with in-game skins. It was speculated to be the second largest at the time, behind only one other site called CSGO Wild. Mo accepted the sponsorship with Diamonds, agreeing to play on the site for several months on stream. However, this relationship would come to an end in late May over a negotiating dispute, which went so poorly that Mo subsequently exposed them for rigging their results. He wrote on Twitter, "CSGO Diamonds owner admitted to fraud. He would send me the roles before they happened. He did it multiple times, even with me saying not to." He also released 2 Skype chat logs, with one reading, "Diamonds. So, if I were to look right now, Mo, you're saying you want to let me know if I'll win? Diamonds. I can tell you, your next roll is going to be 34-45. Mo. Bro, I don't know if that's a good idea. I mean, it would be super sick for like one highlight, but I don't think we should ever do that because that will ruin the whole site's integrity if it gets out. Diamonds. Not really. Shockingly, rather than deny this serious allegation, CSGO Diamonds admitted on Twitter that what he'd stated was true, and instead focused their response on attempting to impugn Mo as well. The next day, the company released a twitlonger in which they alleged that the streamer had been in on the scheme since the start. Since we're a provably fair site, we are able to check all future roles just like any other provably fair site. For example, CSGO Double could tell you what the next 100 colors will be. It's important to note that just because we can see future results doesn't mean we can change them. In a quick decision, we made a mistake with Mo and decided to tell him some of his future roles in an effort to make his stream more entertaining on our site. In fact, they actually further accused Mo of specifically asking for role results while on stream, claiming he only threatened to expose them as leverage for a better business deal. In a now lost tweet, they even went on to state that his severance deal alone, as in the amount of money paid upon leaving the business relationship, was over 170 Bitcoin. At the time, that translated to $100,000. As much as Mo framed himself as the hero, he intentionally promoted a gambling site to his audience under no real risk of losses, while walking away with over tens of thousands of dollars. In a follow-up interview with Richard Lewis, he admitted to arranging sponsorships for them with other influencers.
Even when I went out and got them influencers to like help promote the site, they would have them very limited on what they were able to do and what they were not able to do. Now, for me, like I said, like I do get refills if I'm at 0.
Yeah.
But anything I win, I can keep.
Mo's faux moral positioning wasn't entirely without its benefits, however. His call-out, and subsequent back and forth, revealed the inner workings of these sites to the public for the first time. It showed just how untrustworthy these businesses could be, and suspicion over how involved influencers actually were. Mo managed to escape the controversy with little to no repercussions, instead going on to take sponsorships from a multitude of other businesses. One of the only people to seriously call him out was a YouTuber named Jake Lucky, who has since rebranded as Esports Talk.
It definitely should be illegal to do what he has done, to come out and admit that he has scandaled and scammed his fans and not receive any backlash from the game, any corporations, Twitch at all, where he actually streamed all this fake business, is absolutely mind-blowing. The fact that also we have probably a good, almost 50% of his fans still thinking that it's okay what he did.
This video would prove to be far more divisive, receiving 11,000 likes and 10,000 dislikes, a nearly 50-50 split. The reason for this response wouldn't be because of his segment on Mo, rather, it was the result of his coverage of an entirely different Counter-Strike gambling controversy.
So here it goes. I'm going to be talking about the FaZe members, and mainly FaZe Rain and FaZe Adapt.
On June 19th, Jake uploaded a video highlighting the fact that several FaZe members had begun uploading videos promoting the aforementioned largest Counter-Strike gambling site, CSGO Wild. These thinly veiled advertisements were given provocative titles, such as "How to Win $5,000 in 5 Minutes" and "I won $60,000." Now, it wasn't just FaZe. The site had grown so large because effectively every other influencer in the community had been promoting it. With claims of such high rewards, and witnessing what he believed to be staged moments, Jake attempted to verify these results by checking their inventories, only to discover they weren't there. In fact, he believed that none of their supposed big earns were genuine, instead having been orchestrated for entertainment purposes, exactly like CSGO Diamond had admitted to just a week prior.
See through that thick film. Are these guys really making, are all these pro players really making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000? The only evidence I have of this is if you check their inventories right after they upload the videos, their inventories don't have the skins in them. They're all friends with the admin as well. And most likely what's happening here, guys, will most likely be like CSGO Diamonds. They'll pay them a chunk of a percentage of referrals that they get to the website.
Let's put all of this speculation of result manipulation aside. Accepting this sponsorship, in which you're promoting gambling to your audience through the medium of one of the most successful games on Steam, is still scummy. There's a reason advertising regular gambling services to minors isn't allowed. And despite these items easily translating to real-world money, by this point, regulating such a market was unprecedented.
Around this time, Counter-Strike was kind of the game, and there were a lot of these like gambling websites with skins. Like I don't know if you guys know anything about that, but there's like a currency in Counter-Strike and it's skins. There's a real market for it, and some of these skins, like a skin for like the sniper or like a knife or whatever, some of these go up upwards of like $10,000 on the open market. So with that, people started creating these like gambling sites where you could gamble with these skins. And it was kind of like gray area because it's a skin in the game and there's no actual real like value to it. Like the government puts absolutely no value to it.
That same day, FaZe Rain responded to Jake, uploading a 6-minute video titled "The Truth." Intentionally avoiding mentioning him by name, he claimed that there was no such way a site could be skewed, and that Adapt had in fact not been sponsored. He then took the argument to Twitter, stating that they could prove it wasn't rigged because it was a single live recording. Bear in mind, that doesn't change much when you take into account what the owner of Diamonds stated about them having access to a list of future roles. FaZe Rain then contradicted his own claims by admitting in private that Adapt was paid, but only in emeralds, which means he was given an equivalent amount of $5,000 to gamble on the site. If their videos are to be believed, that meant this would have translated to the thousands of dollars they won. However, Rain then wrote that he personally never cashed out from Wild, meaning these supposedly legitimate rewards they boasted about were apparently not worth taking out for whatever reason. But the final nail in the coffin for Jake's case against them was that the owners of CSGO Wild had a vacation home in Antigua. Through his own research, Jake was able to find evidence indicating that Rain and another member of FaZe had been personally flown out to visit, once and for all contradicting the claim that they hadn't been paid out.
I really want you guys to just look at all this evidence I presented today and ask yourself, do you really think these guys are doing all of this for free? For emeralds that they cannot withdraw into skins? Do you think that these guys are not making these videos look as good as possible to draw you in and gamble on this website, an underage community that is very influenceable, I don't even know the right word for it, but a underage society and community that is so influenced by these figureheads that put on this show for all of you guys to make you think you can win this amount of money that you really can't. It's impossible. Even he can't win 10 in a row.
You'd be foolish to think this is where it ends, especially if you want to estimate just how much money these sites were making. In a Bloomberg article from April of 2016, titled "Virtual Weapons Are Turning Teen Gamers into Serious Gamblers," they note that the boom in pro video gaming is fueled by $2.3 billion in online bets.
Hold on to your pants, it's about to go down. This may be the biggest scandal in COD community which has nothing to do with Call of Duty.
On June 27th, a YouTuber named Honor the Call would pick up where Jake left off. After watching his videos on Rain and Adapt, he decided to begin investigating other figures in the community, promoting similar services. More specifically, T. Martin, Pro Syndicate, and Josh OG. Much like the members of FaZe, the three had begun uploading videos promoting CSGO betting, this time with an entirely different site known as CSGO Lotto. T. Martin and Pro Syndicate had over 4 and 11 million subscribers across their channels respectively, so they had huge audiences. These two similarly frame the site as a way to get rich quick, with their series of videos accumulating hundreds of thousands of views. Honor the Call discovered that the site had been registered as a business in Orlando, Florida, the same city and state where T. Martin lives. This was no coincidence, as Trevor Martin was in fact listed as the director and registering agent of the site, meaning he owned it, meaning all of those grandiose returns and larger-than-life reactions were in an environment that he was in control of. Remember, we know from Diamonds that those in charge of the site have access to the next 100 roles. But the documents also list a man named Thomas Cassell as the company's vice president, which just so happens to be the real name of Pro Syndicate. These two had been in on it since the very beginning. So, legally speaking, T. Martin and Syndicate had no ability to deny that they owned the company. The listings were backed up by 6 different archives, including official Florida government websites. They'd been caught red-handed. Instead, they attempted to figuratively own it, claiming that the fact had never been a secret.
Is that myself and a few other people, including Tom or Pro Syndicate, own CSGO Lotto. And this is something that has never been a secret.
This was despite making a big show of supposedly finding the site naturally and encouraging their fans to go check it out.
And we found this new site called CSGO Lotto.
The pair deliberately misrepresented the nature of their business by pretending it had been by chance in an attempt to entice their young audience to start gambling. T. Martin did offer some explanation as to why he was associated with the business, claiming it was to be paid for the sponsorship. Not only does this still not justify lying about why they were promoting the site, but it doesn't make sense. He was the owner of both companies. Any money being transferred between the two was essentially him paying himself. He won money in a casino that he owns. Josh OG attempted to make the same argument, in the process admitting he owned equity in the company, outing himself as a partner. At this point, they had all entered full damage control mode, finally adding disclaimers to the bottom of their videos' descriptions. One reads, "Play at your own risk, and please don't play if you're underage or it's not legal in your jurisdiction." Smiley face. T. Martin then had the audacity to pretend that this note had been there the entire time.
And lied to the face of his 5 million viewers with such confidence.
Descriptions of every single one of my CSGO Lotto videos, it says in there, like, thank you to...
I have 3 sets of proofs of him updating his descriptions.
With all of the evidence laid out so clearly, and with the concrete receipts, there was no chance these 3 would escape their controversies as easily as those before them. But it would take more than the scrutiny of just the gaming community to pressure legal action. Nowadays, Ethan Klein is regarded pretty controversially. Glad I could play a part in that. But back in 2016, things were a lot different. That year, Ethan was still regularly making videos and positioned himself as the moral voice of reason in the community, taking public stands against content theft, fake social experiments, and copyright abuse. Interestingly, it seems he was first made aware of this controversy by one of the gamblers themselves. In one of Jake's videos, He shows a message in which Rain claims that Ethan had advised him to not pursue taking down your video, but to sue you instead. To be fair, the situation had likely been misrepresented to him, as when he realized what was actually occurring, he didn't see it fit to just sit by. On July 3rd, 2016, H3H3 uploaded a video titled Deception, Lies, and CSGO, where he spearheaded the CSGO gambling controversies head on.
Today we're talking about CSGO gambling, which is really something that's taken the internet by storm these past couple of years. And it seems like these gambling sites are popping up all over the place.
Ethan represents all of the evidence Honor the Call had collected, including their response videos where he affirms their defense has no legitimacy.
If you look at the company charter here, you can clearly see that he was the owner from day one. Not only that, but he's the dude who filed it. He's the incorporator. He's the guy who did the papers and signed it out and put his name on it and said, I own this company. And all of his officers there, Pro Syndicate is one of them, were there from day one. So I don't really understand what you're trying to say, T. Martin. Were you the owner or were you not? Because clearly the charter shows that you are the original incorporator.
Ethan took aim not just at the influencers, however, but at Valve as well, emphasizing that the system they'd created was influencing teens to take an interest in gambling. He even likens the game's loot crates to a lottery machine.
When you compare opening a crate in CSGO, it looks almost identical to an online slot machine. The only difference is that you have to be over the age of 21 or people will go to prison.
Something not mentioned in the previous videos was that someone had actually filed a class action lawsuit against Valve, alleging that they were complicit in the flourishing of these sites. The video ends with a lot of open-ended questions. Could or would Valve be found legally culpable? Would the owners of CSGO Lotto face any repercussions for their actions? Whatever the answers were, we wouldn't hear about them from the culprits' mouths, as in response to Ethan's video, T. Martin released his infamous I'm sorry upload. It became notorious at the time as being the textbook YouTube apology, with him seemingly intentionally having his pet dog on screen in order to emotionally manipulate the audience.
So right away, T. Sharton has made me very uncomfortable and squirming in my chair like my rectum's been tickled by a fucking porcupine because it's the most cringeworthy attempt at using one of the most popular techniques for public service announcements and emotional campaigns, where you get a cute animal there to get the viewer's guard down, make them feel like you're being real with them, make them feel like they're being genuine, and just kind of elicit sympathy from the viewer.
This apology would go down in YouTube history as one of the worst of all time, discussed in tier lists since the event. But being made fun of by sissy femboys would become the least of Trevor Martin's concerns, once the story made it to the big leagues. On July 5th, BBC News reported about the CSGO Lotto story, no doubt bringing it before the eyes of the less terminally online. On July 20th, Valve themselves announced that 23 different gambling sites, which relied on their in-service economy for their business models, had 10 days to shut down, demanding that they cease and desist. On that list, specifically listed, was CSGO Diamonds, CSGO Wild, and, of course, CSGO Lotto. At the same time, articles were being released about the lawsuit filed against the company, alleging that they were complicit with the business until it was inconvenient for the brand. In sum, Valve owns the league, sells the casino chips, and receives a piece of the casino's income stream through foreign websites in order to maintain the charade that Valve is not promoting and profiting from online gambling. Like a modern-day Captain Renault from Casablanca. That most of the people in the CSGO gambling economy are teenagers and under 21 makes Valve's and the other defendants' actions even more unconscionable. The other defendants listed in that case were T. Martin and Pro Syndicate. Before long, it was announced that the Federal Trade Commission had opened an investigation. The heat was certainly on now, and by every measure, the people involved were starting to feel it. For those seeking justice, it was all hands on deck. Until it wasn't. On September 17th, it was announced that the FTC had reached a settlement with T. Martin and Syndicate. The settlement required that they disclose their business ties to anything they endorse on their channels going forward. It was a slap on the wrist, if you can even call it that. The lawsuit filed against Valve, with T. Martin and Syndicate added, would be dismissed in October of 2016, with the case basically being dead in the water since then. As a result of CSGO Lotto's story blowing up so much, the tales of Wild, Diamond, and the other smaller gambling sites faded from the public eye, with them being forgotten as the people involved moved on to other business ventures. Funnily enough, FaZe Banks would later admit to having set up CSGO Wild himself, He also goes into detail about that house in Antigua, which is where the website was set up.
So we create this website, and through our rake and all this shit, we were making like $200,000 a day. And we set it up in Antigua. We set it up in Antigua. I had a house in Antigua for like.
Where's that?
For like Antigua in the Caribbean.
Island, yeah.
Where?
It's an island.
It's one of those like islands where they.
The best.
It's an island in the Caribbean where where gambling, where running a gambling website is completely legal if you have the permits and stuff to do it. So we flew there. We flew there private. Sat down with the guy who runs the country, basically paid him like $100,000, and he gave us the license. We had this whole estate, and we had a fucking...
Today, T. Martin posts videos to his gaming channel consistently, as well as running a successful side channel where he posts videos of his dog. Syndicate similarly posts gaming videos and streams on Twitch playing Call of Duty. I guess this is the point in the video where I'm supposed to say that scamming your fans, the people who gave you a career in the first place, is bad. It's wrong. It seems like it would go without saying. But to be honest, looking at the guys who did it, it seems like it worked out all right.
Cooper, I have no idea how I'm gonna record this video, dude.
Now the story got really big over the weekend when H3H3 uploaded a video titled Deception Lies in CSGO, where he talked about this situation.
If I misled any of you guys, or if any of you guys are upset.
I've been Turkey Tom. Thanks for watching, and until next time, leave me alone.